The Oklahoma City Thunder won the 2025 championship through elite defense and clutch offensive play. They built this roster through elite drafting in one of the worst trades in NBA history. The Clippers traded a haul of picks that turned into Jalen Williams, the second best player on the team, and obviously the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Thunder were able to build a championship roster off of one trade that gave them their best player in franchise history. Thank you, Paul George, creating championship teams one trade at a time. SGA is the centerpiece that makes the Thunder so dominant. He's the first player since 2015 to win both MVP and the NBA Finals in the same season. When you add in his scoring title, he's the fourth player ever to do it, along with the names like Shaq, Kareem, and Michael Jordan. And he's the second youngest to win all three at 26. He put up one of the best regular seasons by a guard in the history of the sport. He averaged 32 points per game with an efficiency field goal percentage of 56.9. He was easily one of the best scorers on the planet this past season, leading his team to 68 wins, the fifth most wins in NBA history. He also had the 25th highest player efficiency rating in NBA history, which is the second highest for a point guard ever. It's better than the triple-double season from Russell Westbrook and the James Harden MVP year. It's clear he's had one of the best seasons ever from a point guard and capped it off with the first title in Oklahoma City Thunder's history. Nobody but Nembhard could even attempt to guard SGA. He averaged 30 points per game with 5 assists per game and was extremely clutch all throughout the finals, especially in Game 4, where they were down 2-1 in the series, and if they lost, it was over. The Thunder were down 4 points with 3 minutes left in the game, and SGA went on to score the next 7 points to take the lead and momentum back for the Thunder. They would win the game and tie up the series instead of going down 3-1. Just insanely clutch from SGA. In the most important game of the series that meant life or death, SGA was rewarded with Finals MVP, which he deserved, but he couldn't get it done alone because he had an all-time great defense behind him to help him win this chip. The Thunder led the NBA in defensive rating, opponent field goal percentage, and opponent turnovers in the regular season. Besides the Thunder, the 2016-17 Warriors are the only team since 1976 to 1977 to lead the NBA in opponent field goal percentage and opponent turnover. When you factor in defensive rating, the Thunder are the only team to lead the NBA in all three categories in a season since the merger. It's one of the most well-rounded defenses ever. They have the most steals in a season since the 1995-96 Gary Payton-led Supersonics 28 years ago. They didn't slow down heading into the postseason. They continued to be at the top of all-time statistics. They averaged the most opponent turnovers at 18 a game in the playoffs since the 1996 Bulls, which was led by 3 first-team all-defensive players. They set the NBA record for the most steals in a single playoff run at 247. So clearly, this Thunder team is one of the best defensive teams to ever play. They terrorized the West, and then after destroying the conference with their defensive prowess, they stepped up against one of the best offensive teams we've seen in the NBA Finals. In Game 1, they forced 19 turnovers in the first half, the most turnovers in an NBA game since the 2007 New Jersey Nets. Before the finals, the Pacers averaged the 5th lowest turnovers in the playoffs, while averaging the most assists per game. But once they stepped into OKC, things got very difficult. They ended the series averaging 18 turnovers and 22.7 assists. Their stats were extremely down compared to the dominance they showed across the Eastern Conference. The Thunder's size and athleticism are far too oppressive to go against. You have guys like Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, Chet, and even Shai. They don't have a single weak point on defense. Their best player totaled the most steals and blocks by a guard in the NBA Finals. The Pacers couldn't hold on, especially with the injuries they faced to deal with this defensive juggernaut. But none of this could have happened if it wasn't for the trade for Alex Caruso, the heart of the team and the engine that pushed that defense to all-time great territory. Caruso's championship experience helped steer this team, which failed to make it past the second round last year, to the NBA Finals. Their season could have ended in the second round again in Game 7 against Denver, but Caruso took over. He might have only had 11 points, but was a plus 40 in the game, dominating all over the court. His defensive intensity was unreal, stealing the ball away in crucial moments and making plays for the team. His experience and leadership helped keep this team from crumbling against the Nuggets. When his team needed him most, he showed up, and that was prevalent in the NBA Finals. His defensive intensity was insane in the finals. He finished the series with the second most blocks and steals for a guard in an NBA Finals series of all time. The importance of Caruso can't be understated, with his impact on the court and off it. But the big reason this team was able to take that next step to a championship winning team was the evolution of Jalen Williams. J-Dub had an elite playoffs for a number 2 option, especially with a ligament tear in his right wrist. He wasn't the most consistent player, but when his team needed him, he delivered a huge game. The year prior, it felt like he wasn't ready for the moment, and the bright lights of the playoffs were too much for him to handle. But this year, he showed up. In Game 7 against Denver, he had a 17-point first half where it felt like he couldn't miss, creating a lead that Denver could never touch, and pushing his team to the Western Conference Finals. Once again in the Western Conference Finals in a crucial Game 4 with the series at a 2-1 standstill, a chance for the Wolves to tie up the series going back to OKC. J-Dub showed up big, scoring 34 points and 14 points in the fourth quarter, hitting big shots to keep the lead for the team, combining for 74 points with SGA, giving them a 3-1 lead and basically ending the series. Now in the NBA Finals, a crucial Game 5 put OKC up 3-2. J-Dub exploded for 40 points, becoming the 5th youngest player ever to score 40 in a finals game. He dominated everyone who tried to guard him. One of the best performances from a second option in NBA history. J-Dub was unreal throughout the series, as well as averaging 23 points per game and was a mismatch for the Pacers. Nobody on that team could guard him. When J-Dub was playing his best, the Pacers had no answers. It helped OKC prevent the Pacers from doubling SGA and not getting punished for it. Any extra attention heading towards Shea allowed J-Dub to attack with a little more room around him, and this was especially prevalent in his 40-point performance. Consistently finding the gaps in the defense and attacking to get great shot attempts. Even with Shea off the court, he couldn't be stopped. His combination of size and athleticism is rare in the NBA, and it was something the Pacers couldn't handle. The fact that he's only 24 years old and has championship experience, his potential is through the roof. I can't discuss the team's defensive mastery without mentioning the rock in the middle, Chet Holmgren. He was not at his best in these playoffs offensively, especially in the finals, but his defensive presence was there. He was very good on the boards and with his shot blocking. His paint protection helped stunt Pascal Siakam from dominating the series like he did against the Knicks, who were devoid of a shot blocking threat. Chet's defensive run was statistically significant. He finished number 1 in defensive expected plus minus. There have only been 14 playoff seasons since 2002 with the player having a defensive EPM of 3.5 or more. In 2025, Chet Holmgren is now one of those seasons. He's only 23 years old and is already one of the best rim protecting big men in the NBA. If he can find a way to be impactful on offense in the playoffs, he can become one of the most well-rounded players in the NBA. This OKC team has the makings of a dynasty, only being held back by the new apron rules in the NBA. They locked in their core 3, and as long as they continue to improve and continue to be one of the best defensive teams of all time, they will win a lot of championships and cement themselves as one of the best big 3s in NBA history.